by Brandy Pet.
Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, everybody had a great holiday. It's me, Brandy P, with the Yes I Am the Veteran podcast, and I am joined today by Adam Martin from Blackbird Anthem. How are you doing, brother?
Doing good. How are you, Brandy?
I made it. I just found out I was supposed to be hospitalized yesterday, so unfortunately, I missed my podcast yesterday because I fell asleep for 24 hours, and they found out that my blood was 3 times thinner than it's supposed to be. So they were like, "You need to be in the hospital." I was like, that's a pass." So definitely try to be a little bit more careful, but especially around the holidays. I mean, we as veterans tend to be a bit more stubborn, as I have just shown. But definitely we need to take care of ourselves as well as each other. I hope everybody had a great Christmas and they have a good New Year's, especially looking forward into the new year. I know it definitely can get stressful for people because it's like, I guess, catching up before the new slate, I guess, the clean slate. But Adam, so how was your Christmas?
Pretty good. Christmas was great itself. And that night, though, I discovered a little bit of water leakage in my den. So ended up pulling up a bunch of carpet and soaked padding. So I've spent the past couple days doing a little bit of deconstruction and ripping up stuff in the house, you know. And but other than that, it was great.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that happened. I know you've had a little bit go on since the last time you were our guest. So I hear the MOH did pretty well at the Josie Awards. Is that right? Did you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, we were very blessed, very fortunate. MOH, the music video about Medal of Honor recipient Staff Sergeant Don Jenkins from Vietnam, was nominated for basically social impact music video of the year, along with some very, very good other nominations. And we walked away with the win, music video of the year, social impact. And it was just we were nominated for 5 awards this year, the Josie Music Awards, and MOH was the one that we walked home with. And if we could only pick one, of course it would be that one, you know. And a lot of great talent at the Josies this year, but we're just so honored to have brought back that award. And it's what we do, it's who we are, it's what we've been from the start, is taking care of vets and honoring the sacrifices that they've made so that our country can live free.
Absolutely, brother. And honestly, congratulations to you and to your members, because that's quite an accomplishment. And honestly, I love seeing veterans walk away with things like this and talk about it, because of the fact that we too often tear down each other, but we need to empower each other more. And especially, you walking away with a huge award for an independent artist to have is definitely empowering and inspiring. And I think a lot of us, we tend to lose that sense of purpose when we get out of the military, and we have that whole sense of, now what do I do? So seeing a veteran perform and walk away with a win like that is definitely inspiring to me. And I definitely wanted to introduce our guest for tonight, Guitars for Vets. So we have Mr. Danny Talley and Miss Erin Talley. I'll bring them to the stage now. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Brandy, doing good.
I'm glad to hear it. And did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Danny? What do you do and what branch, maybe?
Okay, yeah, I spent pretty much my adult life wearing a uniform. So by the time I was 17, I begged to get enlisted. Mom signed the paperwork, so I went in the Marine Corps. Saw both peacetime and combat time throughout my tenure there. Transitioned from one uniform to another and becoming a first responder. And I finished out my career there about 2 years ago. Still had a void, still wanted to serve, but I knew that wearing a uniform in that capacity probably wasn't the best fit anymore. So I moved on, and now I work in behavioral health, helping other veterans and law enforcement officers deal with trauma, past trauma. From there, partnered up, because that led to a lot of networking opportunities for me, and I ran into a guy that started a local chapter here for Guitar for Vets and completely changed my life. Using something other than medication management, using music that's very powerful in itself, to address some of the stuff that I was feeling. I knew when I was isolated and how I felt, and having another way of coping, another tool in my tool bag to utilize, and then pay it forward. So we started this chapter here. Unfortunately, Carl couldn't be on tonight because he had to have surgery. So he will be out of playing guitar for at least a good 6 to 8 weeks. Probably going to kill him. But he wanted to be here, so I'm here holding this banner in this chapter to get some of this information out to better the veteran community, the population, that there are other avenues and resources that you can use in order to better yourself.
Absolutely, and that is so needed. Aaron, can you tell us a little bit about how you kind of became involved with Guitars for Vets as well?
Well, it was really because of my husband. He came to me and talked to me about wanting to be a part of the process at first, being like a graduate and then playing, and he loved it. And I could see a difference in him from like the day one and how his behavior was. And now he's an instructor. And like we just had a Christmas party the other night with all the instructors, and they were sitting here and having like a jam session. And to see my husband, I can't put into words what it is to see him grow, not as a human, like a man, like, you know, just a man, like, just because he was my friend at first. So from my friend to my husband, and now it's just like the respect that's there because I've seen the work that he's put in. I've been, you know, just watching in the shadows, watching him just grow as a person, and it's wonderful.
I will tell you, when I came home from Iraq, I came home in 2004, and I struggled, you know, like a lot of vets did. And I've always loved music. I didn't know how to play, didn't know how to sing, didn't know how to write, any of that. But I mean, I remember buying my first vinyl record, my first 45, you know, my first cassette tape was Run DMC Raising Hell, you know. I mean, it was, you know, music was my life. And then, you know, when I got back home and I wasn't dealing well with my family, I wasn't dealing well with my kids and all of that. And I found music and I started playing guitar. I was 33 years old. And I picked up a guitar, and, you know, I'm sure like many through the Guitars for Vets program, when you first start playing, it sounds like you're murdering cats. I mean, it just, nice. it's bad. And, you know, and you think there is no way I'm ever going to get this. And then if you try to start singing on top of that, you know, Aaron, bless you, my wife, she would come in, stop screaming, you know. And you know, but eventually it took hold, and then I started to write songs, and it is such a release. It is such a, there's things we may not talk about, but we can write about it, you know, because then it's not like just me saying it. It's a made up character that's going through these things and saying these things. And so, you know, and music is one of those languages that just transcends everything. You know, it doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter what language you speak. Every culture in the world has had music since the beginning. And there's healing in that, and there's therapy in that.
Yeah, and when he's having a bad day,
bring that back to balance out your brain, balance out your emotional life. There's such healing in it, for sure.
Yeah, like
and that's one of the mottos on Guitar for Vets. You know, first thing you do when you click on that website, the healing power of music. You know, like you said, it transcends everything. You can convey so much emotion without even saying a word. And we see that, you know, somebody that graduates a 10-week course takes about $200 for somebody to sponsor. It costs nothing to that vet. All they need is a diagnosis, whether it be PTS, MST, something to come over there and, you know, saying that I've tried other outlets Maybe let me try this. And that's very, I mean, if you look at it, it's intimidating when somebody wants to pick up a guitar and all the strings and hitting something, and maybe giving them that opportunity just to try something else and see how easily it is to manipulate something and convey emotion through this instrument. And that's what it was made for. But, you know, $200 gets a veteran through that 10-week course, and at the end of the 10-week course, they get about $1,000 worth of equipment, from a guitar to a kit bag, and that costs nothing. And, you know, this being a nonprofit, you know, true 501c, it's all worked on through donations. So when a vet comes, and it's not, you know, we have a list that, you know, it stays pretty busy, especially with 6 or 7 instructors that we have and rotating. But it's a one-on-one session with them. We also give them the opportunity to come back once they're a graduate to come back and have some of those round robin kind of jam sessions. And we'll let a vet or a graduate, you know, pick one of those songs out and say, hey, today we're going to learn a couple of chords. And, you know, nobody that comes through that little 10-week course is going to be, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Now, you know, it could happen. But, you know, you just get your little cowboy chords going, but then you can see, and that opens up other avenues, and it gets you interested and gets you thirsty to sit there and want to learn more, and get you away from some of these other things that we utilize in order to self-isolate, or maybe some of those bad habits that we have. And I know she's over here probably going to laugh, but, you know, the last 2 years I've been doing this, and my guitar collection has grown tremendously. So it's one addiction to another, but I'd rather be paying money and going to this addiction than going back to what I had previously. But it's good to be around those like-minded individuals, and they pick one of those songs and we learn it. And why did you pick that song? How did that speak to you? And then it's maybe a couple sessions, and then somebody starts talking, and then we start getting some of this stuff out. And that's the healing. That is right there, of putting that in that space and giving them another tool in order to facilitate some of this healing.
Absolutely. And Aaron, what were you saying earlier? I apologize if we I cut you off there.
No, it's okay. No, I can tell when he's having a bad day. Like, you know, Danny's talking about the program, but I can only talk about him, because, you know, like, I support him and what he does and that. And, you know, every Wednesday at, you know, 3:00, I know he's going to be at Guitar for Vets. And, you know, it just is what it is. Like, I'm going to support, I'm going to make sure the kids are going, but I can always tell when he's having a bad day, when he's upstairs and I can hear him strumming. And he's just strumming just different chords. He's not playing, like, he'll play a little bit of a song, boom, and then he's on to another song, and then he's on to another song. And then he'll come down and I'll be like, you want to talk about it? Sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. You just kind of, I've had to learn, because we're women, we want to fix everything. You know, we want to be the mama. We want to, you know, coddle everybody. But I've learned to kind of step back and let him come to me and, like, talk to me about what's going on. So Guitar for Vets has been a godsend, not just for my husband, but and all the wives, like all the wives that I've had contact with have said, my husband's different. And I'm like, yes, he is. And and it's a good thing, not a bad thing.
And I think a lot of us with post-traumatic stress, we don't realize, like, how much we take it out on people around us when it's not managed. Like, that was the one thing for me. I was okay with just, you know, being angry, and I had all the rights to be, but I was taking it out on the people around me as well. And that wasn't fair to them. And so for me, like, that's why I like to try to speak about alternative medical treatments for PTSD, especially because of the fact that so many people, like, don't know that all the resources that are out there and available to them. So I think that it's great that you guys are offering this as an alternative, because of the fact that, like, for example, like the VA, they let you make guitar straps, but they don't ever teach you anything about the modality itself. And at the end of the day, it does get frustrating. And, you know, us as veterans, we get frustrated easily, especially, you know, when we're having a bad day or we're going through something. So having something that's taught by people that really understand you, you know, for me, like, I actually want to start learning to play the electric guitar, because I watched Lead Fiddle shred the hell out of Star Spangled Banner. Now I want to do it. And, you know, and I found out that my Forge Master, they have, like, Slayer connections. So, like, now my new, like, fantasy, I guess, is to, like, play in the Forge, like, and, like, or watch them play in the Forge while making a blade or something. Probably would never happen. However, like, let me have this. But it is good to have goals and just to have that sense of purpose again. And I think that it's so important that you're providing such an invaluable resource, really. How would you say that Guitars for Vets affects people in their daily life, would you say?
Gives them hope. I know I look forward to Wednesday, and then now having this other tool, I look forward to going home and being able to have that therapeutic piece and get stuff out versus bottling it up or thinking that I'm that unicorn and nobody can understand me or relate. I've always had music in my life going back, even in my worst times in adolescence. You know, there was not a lot of constants, but music. I remember my mom was having a bad day of putting Purple Rain, that album, in the little red 5.0, and we're jamming because something happened at the house. So to be able to go back and tie in and how stuff comes full circle, and we kind of lose some of this in the way we view the world as you get older. You get more corrupt, more biases and stuff like that, and you forget some of these healthy coping mechanisms. And I don't care if it's coloring in an adult coloring book, if it's petting a horse or going and walking a dog. If you do anything that's going to benefit you in a positive way, then what we in this warrior class tend to do, which is the choir practice, because that's acceptable and that is not looked and frowned down upon. But a lot of people that are blessed with a certain mechanism in that DNA can't always go to that because it leads to another road, and one that people tend not to go back from. And I know that I'm blessed. I know one of the pillars in recovery is you got to pay it forward. And if somebody asks for help, you got to help. You got to stop what you're doing and do your due diligence. And I do that every day, whether it be in my professional life now, you know, transitioning into mental health, or doing this side project of the Guitar for Vets. This is the real healing. You know, and you look, there's a lot of people that talk the talk and very few that walk the walk, you know, and you can throw $200 down somebody and say, I want to, you know, sponsor, but time in itself is precious. And that's a limited resource that we have on this earth. And I know it took me 38 years on this planet to get my stuff fixed back to where I was functioning in a healthy way. And that's it. That's my mission in life, is to do everything I can. I got to balance it, because sometimes I burn the candle at both ends, wanting to help everybody. But if I can make them thirsty and feel what I have now, you know, seeing sobriety and seeing other outlets other than the standard VH cocktail that they give you to say, this will make you feel better. Right. Why not try it? And that's it. You don't know until you try something. It's very intimidating, and I get that. But once you get there, and we said that earlier, you're around those like-minded individuals that understand and break down some of these barriers and go. And there's no judgment there. There's guys that are tone deaf that can't sit there and figure out that this chord sounds different, or this key, or what's going on. Their strumming patterns probably suck. But you know what? They're there every Wednesday at those jam sessions, and they're cleaning out their closet in another way than sitting there probably turning into a bottle or other means.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true.
Veterans, you know, when we get out, we're in the military and we're active duty, everything is mission focused. Everything is right. You've got this mission moving to that mission. This mission supports that mission. And when we get out, we're kind of like, and we may have a job, but it still just doesn't satisfy that other thing, because we're so used to basically having a 360-degree constant, you know, looking around, doing all this kind of stuff. I mean, and when you no longer have that, it's like you have this bottled energy or focus, or just, you know, angst that you got to do something with. And having a mission outside of a job is where you can find purpose again. Yeah. And I would say, find a mission, find something you can get lost in. Yeah. And Danny's right. It doesn't matter if it's a coloring book. It doesn't matter if you like going into your closet and refolding your towels and sheets in a certain order and color coordinating them because it makes you feel good. Then do it. But find something you can get lost in, whether it's guitar, maybe it's, you know, painting, or, I mean, all this, you know, you know, wine and paint and all this kind of stuff that's out there now. I'm not promoting wine, but I mean, there's so much, there are so many activities out there for veterans to find a new passion and find something to get lost in. Guitar was it for me, because I loved music. Yeah. It occupied both hands and my brain at the same time. and before I knew it, 3 or 4 hours had passed, and during that time, I wasn't thinking about how crappy I was doing at life. You know, I wasn't thinking about, you know, how I was just sucking at all this other stuff. I was actually kind of having a good time and at peace, and you know, music is one of it. I'm telling you, you do have to watch your back with other employees for sure. I'm reading comments over here on the side. You know, but you know, it's find something that's healthy that you can get lost in. There's a lot of unhealthy things out there. But there are great veteran organizations. Hello from Tennessee. Hey, Phil, Tennessee.
Sorry,
I love my Tennessee people. No, that's cool.
Yes. Hi, Erica. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But I know he'd been posting earlier. He said he would sponsor a veteran, by the way.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks,
and you can go to that website. There's a drop-down menu on there. You can either donate. There's 3 ways. You know, there's the monetary. There's being a volunteer, donating your time, which I said is a precious limited resource in itself, or equipment. A lot of people have some old junk stuff where, you know, they pick up a guitar and decided that it wasn't for them, so they sit there and collect, you know, spider webs. But, you know, that might help, because we do offer loaner guitars when somebody goes to the program until they graduate and they get their good guitar. So we're always in need. There are 100 chapters in the continental United States in 40 states. There's actually a couple of chapters in Australia.
Wow.
And if there's not one by you, you don't have to be a vet to start a chapter. It'd be great because you can understand, but, you know, it was founded, the 2 founding members. One was a guitar instructor, and then the other one was a Vietnam era Marine. And they found going and having these little jam sessions and going through stuff, how much he transitioned and how he came out the back end with a lot more energy and a lot more enthusiasm from that PTSD cloud to pay this forward. So, you know, if there's not one close by you, start one. It costs nothing. You just get there, get the forms, get vetted, and then you start your program. All you got to need is time to make sure that you can accommodate, you know, a couple of jam sessions each week, and put somebody through this course, and you might change their life. If you're musically inclined and you're wondering how to give back to this community that has paid so much to our nation, then why not? Try it and see if it takes off. I know here in Louisiana, there's 3 chapters trying to start 2 more, because everybody that comes and they sit in on this, they want to do more. So we actually sit out in the American Legion, and they give it our you know, carte blanche to use the facility on Wednesdays, and we close it down, and we know that every Wednesday it's going to happen, rain, sleet, snow, or hail. So
People just having that like spot where they know where to go, like, just gives them such a sense of purpose and security too, because a lot of times we as veterans feel that, you know, this isn't going to be something that lasts. This isn't, you know, like, where is the other shoe drop? When, you know, like, what's in it for you with nonprofits? And unfortunately, you know, people do have bad experiences at times that can maybe taint those good experiences, like what you're talking about. So you guys having somewhere that week after week is available for veterans that are in need, I think that's amazing.
The opportunities and networking that has happened, even just the, you know, 2 years that this chapter's been you know, available here in this area. We've reached, you know, 65 that we've graduated out of like 65,000 throughout 2007 that this program has, you know, been here. But you just can't speak volumes enough of the energy, the enthusiasm, and you said the purpose, you know, of having, you know, these men and women come back, and some of them are recently out of the service. Some have 20, 30 years out of the service, but they always wanted to do something. They're still struggling, and they don't want to go ask for help. They don't want to go to the VA. And you don't have to be service connected at all to be part of the Guitar for Vets program. You can have a diagnosis through, you know, your own, you know, clinician. But we can make that phone call, find a chapter, and get you on the books to start you somewhere. So that's the hardest thing, is taking that first step, but I guarantee it will change your life.
A lot of people will, you know, talk self-defeating, and I'll say, well, I don't have any rhythm, I don't know anything about music, I'm tone deaf, or I'm this. And you know what, give it a shot. um
Yeah.
you never know what you can do until you give it an honest try. And at the same time, you're doing this for you.
Hmm.
And even if you sit in your room and sing, and it does sound like murdering cats, which it was for me for a long time, you know what? Sing your heart out, and sing what you love. And if it moves you, start writing your own stuff, because that it's just getting the stuff out.
That's it.
That's part of what, a lot of this, behavioral therapy and psychotherapy is. It's for it's talking to just get the stuff out. And music is the same way. You're writing your own songs, or maybe you find a song by an artist that you just connect with in some way, and it punches you right in the gut. um Learn how to play it. So what if you can't sing it? Learn
You
it,
know, and
and
you'd be
and
amazed
try.
how many those cowboy chords go to every popular music anyway. So there's thousands of songs that you can learn with just 3 chords.
Absolutely.
And just changing up the pattern and how you do it. That you'd be
Hmm.
amazed when you go, and there's a sense of accomplishment in that. When somebody comes back and, hey man, look what I learned real quick. Then you got guys that are on the opposite end of the spectrum that are doing lead guitar, doing riffs, going through scales and stuff, and like, man, where'd this come from? But they took it upon
Hmm.
themselves after this little 10-week course to put more time in it, so you know that they're working a program without
Yep.
working a program, and it doesn't look like it's anything mental health related. It looks like, man, the therapeutic value that's inside of doing this program.
Hmm.
And uh, Adam, you talked about, the music and stuff like that. Like Daniel likes to come downstairs and he'll play with the girls. And speaking of tone deaf, we have a daughter who is, but she sings her little heart out because he's
Ah,
strumming that guitar.
Yep.
And he has the biggest smile on his face when all his babies are down here and they're singing or they're dancing to his music. And he's like, this is the best place. This is where I'm supposed to be. So it can be an individual or it can be something with a family. That's all
Yes.
best.
When I first started learning how to play, I mean, my oldest daughter at the time, she wasn't blessed with the gift of music, at all. But she shared my love and my passion for it.
Passion.
Mhm.
And so she was my concert buddy. So her and we would go to all kinds of concerts together.
Mhm.
And then my youngest daughter, she is blessed with the ability, and the gift of music. So she can sing. So her and I have done duets. She is on, I think, all but one of my albums, and the
I love
harmony and the
that.
background vocals. So, I mean, music absolutely is something you can get the whole family involved in. And
Mhm.
I got a 15-month-old granddaughter now, and I play and I sing for her, and she loves it. So I mean,
Oh, that's adorable.
it is something that can just keep going and pass down, and just it literally is a universal language.
Mhm.
It's a closed group when they're going through these sessions, 10-week course, and then also the jam sessions because of HIPAA, and you want to make sure that nobody knows anybody else's business, and we try to do our best for the confidentiality. But this was the first time that we had the spouses here for the Christmas party. So spouses were invited with the instructors that helped, volunteer their time. But to see the smiles on their face the first time those spouses were there and hearing all this go on, you have 7 guitars going, playing in unison to a song, and how powerful it was. And the songs that were being picked for Christmas weren't Christmas carols. It was something that they gravitated to because it speaks to them. So
Hmm.
it just to see that and to see that on the other end that these spouses sitting there and just in awe and watching the transformation that has happened, but also the smiles on their loved ones' faces. Because a lot of times, we self isolate. We go in here, we don't want to talk about it. But if you're like Erin does, she sits there and listens and knows what's going on and kind of my picking the music. If you're screaming death metal, and you're all amped up, or you have one of them smaller little, ballads or something that goes on,
That's my thing alone.
Man, I can't wait. Like I've been like practicing like by myself, like pretending I have a guitar for like 2 weeks now. Like I'm so tired of because I have like part of a leg missing. So try to go to a concert, like a normal one, and try to be up front like everyone else, but you aren't like everyone else. And then you like literally eat it, and you get frustrated because you're like, physically I can't do this way. Like, how about I just be on the damn stage? That way I can see everything. Mm-hmm. So like, I guess that was kind of my thoughts behind it. Like I was like, that's it. Like I'm gonna practice. This is gonna be my next goal. We'll see what happens.
Well, there shouldn't be any excuses. There's been amputees, with just one arm. They lost it from the elbow down, and they found a way to sit there and strum and still manipulate the guitar, or vice versa with the strings or the frets. So if you want it and the will's there, it's going to be done, and you're going to have a bunch of people there that are not judgmental at all, that love and they're champion on this cause to make it work. I think one of the reasons why this is a successful program, I mean, like you just said, Brandy, who doesn't sit there and want to pretend that they were a rock star, right? Either the broom and air guitar or having the hairbrush and singing.
No shame.
You always had that need anyway, and this is one way of fulfilling it. Now, there's some guys they will not get on stage. We've had some opportunities, and they're like, no, I don't want to play. But those are hurdles that you gotta cross too. And I mean, we try that. We've had songwriting sessions. We got some people that want us to play in front of them. And I know that's a big ask for a lot of these guys who are, they don't want to be out there in the limelight, but some people gravitate to that. But if this opens up doors and avenues for you in a productive, positive path for healing, then go forth and do great things.
Danny, you mentioned something earlier too, and Erin might be able to comment on this more, but you said you invited the spouses, and that was kind of the first time. And I think it's really important that spouses are able to connect and communicate with each other, so that they can be like, oh, thank God, I'm not the only one thinking this or feeling this way or going through this. Or sometimes I just want to, strangle the hell out of him. And then sometimes I just want to hug him. And that's what happens. I mean, my wife feels the same way. And just as we as vets can connect around like-minded and people going through the same things, it's very important for spouses to kind of connect together and do that also. So really smart, on your part doing that. And spouses can form their own little support networks and, in touch or what have you. Because they play a huge role in the, the therapy and getting that veteran back to a very good place in life.
I was at a convention once. I was speaking, and a police chief came up to me, and we're talking about behavioral health, mental health. I like mental health, a bad word, but he said it the best. He goes, we fail at every level because, one, the trust, and this is how you know the trust is broken. Your first line of defense is that spouse. That person knows inside and out what that other significant other is going through. And if the trust is not there for that spouse to even go and ask for help, that means the system's broken, because that spouse is worried about jobs, that identity, worried about income, everything that comes with somebody when they ask for help, and that stigma there that's broken. Anybody else that goes through there that's not a warrior class, nobody knows their business. They stumble and they go to treatment, they come back. Nobody's the wiser unless somebody spills the beans, but they're not judged as much as the warrior class is. We got secret clearances that we have to worry about. We have to worry about in the veteran community of finding another job if I had a hiccup. Your first responder community, credentials are getting pulled. But they are no different than the rest of the world's population, and they have, if not more, of a reason to seek help. Because you only can pack this stuff in, and I say it all the time, the analogy that I have, you can buy that nice Louis Vuitton or American Tourist matching luggage set, and you can put everything and Ranger roll it and put it in nice little areas, and have it, marked, and you put it back in your closet, and then you get another suitcase and you do it. But it's not if, but it's when. You can't fit anything else, and that closet door busts open, and all that stuff is out there laid, and you're trying to scramble it. And you can't. When somebody goes in a civilian world and they have maybe 5 traumatic events in their life, that warrior class, especially in time of combat or a first responder, you're looking at triple digits at times. And then sometimes it's 3 or 4 within a day, and you have no time to process it. And when you start feeling a little bit weird, you start going, well, I'm a unicorn, nobody's going to relate. Or you go to that counseling agency, and the first thing that counselor does is go, man, I can't relate, but we're going to get through this together. Right there, you just put up a big barrier, a big hurdle. You can't relate to me. You're fixing to judge me. So why am I going to even allow you into my world? And that started me on my journey. Like I said, 17 years old, and I pretty much grew up in the military. I mean, I left home from my traumatic past, and I think people gravitate to that uniform that are a little bit broken anyway. They got just maybe a little bit of a catch in their step, and they want to gravitate to something. But these identities, and you talked about it earlier, Adam, when you say a purpose, you have a purpose. You're that identity, that uniform. And I transitioned from one to the other, and I wanted a purpose. But the first thing that's going to fail you is that identity. Every time. Every time. We champion and we say band of brothers or thin blue line, thin red line. But how many people in y'all circle that you said, man, really, I need help, that you could really trust and know that they would do their due diligence to help you and fight you for you? And I say it all the time with the I got your six little motto. We'll say that there on the floor with the program that I run. I got your six means I even got your back from you, because sometimes we're our own worst enemy. We do everything that we can. We make every excuse. So I can't play guitar. I'm tone deaf. I can't get help. Nobody relates to me. There's no reason why, with the amount of resources that we have for that warrior class, that you can't at least start the conversation. At 2:00 in the morning, and Aaron can, attest to it. I've been on the phone, and he might not have went to my treatment facility. I might have to get him somewhere else, but I'm gonna do my due diligence when somebody asks for help and struggling to make sure that it's paid forward. Same thing with Guitar for Vets. We're gonna do everything that we can to prevent med management for you have to be on that cocktail. We do everything we can for you don't have to turn on that bottle. And then here's also the beautiful thing about it. Once you're that alumni, you have a network group, and you can reach out to us at any time. And, man, there's been times that we do little ad hoc jam sessions at somebody's house. He doesn't want to let on that they're struggling, but you got that vibe a little bit that somebody's going through something, and that's all they needed. And that probably would have prevented them going down that slippery slope of relapse, or that slippery slope of doing something that they cannot come back from that decision that they made. And I've seen some guys struggle, but I've also seen some guys that have completely 180 when they went through this program. And the amount of love that's felt during one of these jam sessions.
I think that's pretty awesome that you guys get to do that. I know Chris Shavers asked, he can't play the guitar, but he can play the hell out of a trombone and tuba. Is there a low brass for Vets?
That's one of my.
I wish people have talked about clarinets, or violins, cellos, and where I work at, we've actually incorporated some Guitar for Vets stuff there. They can't get credited for the time going, but we bring Guitar for Vets, we let them, and there's guys that don't want to mess with it. But you know what? I don't even know if I have some. I think they're downstairs. I bought some shakers. You got them? I bought some shakers. And, hey, if you want to sit there and shake to the beat, then go forth. But you're at least you're doing something, and then you'll start watching that person. They start shaking and laughing.
I don't know where they went.
I don't know. I think I took them to work.
Their skulls.
All right.
And
So
we were doing the jam session, and he was one of the wives was just shaking it. And she can't play. She's like me. I can't play guitar. I'm not even gonna try to play guitar, but I'll be the best. I'll
be your backup.
I'll be like sitting there, just like rocking out, like good job,
Yep.
baby. Like that.
My wife says she's a clapper. She's the good clapper.
Hey, that's an important job. That is an important job.
It is.
But here, Danny, I'm going to tell you, and who is a guy? Chris Shavers. Tuba, trombone, you brass guys, you want to fit into a rock band, grab a set of harmonicas. Okay?
Nice.
Grab a set of harmonicas. I'm telling you, a G harmonica or a C. It just
Definitely.
Danny doesn't play like that. Danny does. He tries, but he doesn't play like that.
Not like
I
that.
got, I have one in the key of C, and she hates it. She hides it from me, and
Oh
I
my
told her
God,
I
it's
threatened
like he
I'm gonna
doesn't
zip
play.
tie it underneath her car, so
He
when
can
she's
play the
driving,
hell
she
out of a
starts hearing
guitar.
it.
He can play the hell out of a guitar. I will sit there and listen to him strum a guitar all night long. But
Mhm.
he starts playing the harmonica. I'm like, babe, like
Yeah.
I try to
Hey,
like
I got the choo choo down packed. I can sound like a
Okay.
choo choo, man.
All right. Well, I will tell you, a C harmonica is really good. I'll send you a song to learn on the C harmonica. It goes with a great Florida artist down here. It's just no, if you learn how to play it, you can play it well. Otherwise, it sounds like just if I play it wrong, my daughter's dog howls along. And
You're playing it right. It depends on how you're looking at it. You might be playing
that's
it
true.
right.
That's true. That's
That's
true.
fair.
you're not.
No.
I always envision myself to have the little get up to when you're playing the guitar, like like you have Trigger there, Willie Nelson, and you have your harmonica holder, and you're just going at it.
Right.
But
Right.
she
Yeah.
shakes her head.
I started learning how to do a Bob Dylan song, and then it went from there. And then Last Dance with Mary Jane, and
Oh,
it
man.
comes through. So it's just that. So you brass players out there, you harmonica guys, you guitar players, get you one of those little neck holders, put it in the front, and yep.
And
Harp,
kick off your spouse.
yeah, it really it works.
The spouses are very important.
Harptabs.com.
Spouses are very
Harptabs.com.
important. Adam, you talked about the spouses kind of having an outlet for each other. It does feel good to hear that I'm not alone, because there's nothing harder than my husband struggling and I don't know what to do. I don't know. I can't say anything right. I can't do anything right. And so I'm just like, I'm kind of just stuck. And so when I hear that spouse go, hey, I know how you feel, and you just got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gives you a little bit of fuel to keep on going to the next one, so.
And a lot of times the reason that, the veterans can't tell you what's going on or how they feel or whatever is because they don't entirely know themselves.
Yeah.
We don't know quite the words to use in order to help the spouse understand. And rather than getting into a conversation and then I sound like an idiot because I don't quite know what I'm trying to say, and that's probably then going to lead to an argument because I'm going to get mad at myself because I can't figure out what to say. And then it's just all anyways. This is the stuff. But when we have that spouse and that level of trust that Danny was talking about, and maybe just, hey, this is what's going on with me. And for a spouse to be able to do that same thing with another spouse and just kind of ground yourself and say, okay, I'm not losing my mind. This is something that's usual in this situation. And how did you deal with it?
Yeah. Because it's 9 times out of 10, it's not about me. Nothing I did caused that. It's him. And I have to, and us women, and Brandy can attest to this, we just I know men want to fix everything, but so do we, because we just want everybody to be happy and it's great, let's live life. And because I've seen him at some of the lowest points of his life, and then I've seen him at the highest points of his life. And I wish he could see himself through my eyes, because then he would never doubt himself, because he's my best friend. He is my best friend. And so for him to, when he feels low, I feel low with him. And I'm just like, man, what can I say to pick him up? But I have to learn. And, it's also the spouses have to learn themselves. Hey, this is not about you.
Yep.
This is all about them.
Yep.
And you just got to be there.
Yep. Further than help
everything's
them.
about labels and trying to fit into something or a diagnosis or being labeled and PTSD, then the stigma that comes with that. And you mentioned it earlier about, the 360 and head on a swivel. and you've lived the majority of your adult life in fight or flight, not even realizing it. And your go-to for every emotion is anger, one, because it's the easiest to go to and it's the easiest to deal with. The anger and everything that's taught, within, whether it be a basic academy in law enforcement or, boot camp coming through, the military, you're taught that dig deep, embrace the suck, because that's going to get you, that's going to push you a little bit further. But then also the flip side that comes with it, when you don't have healthy coping mechanisms, and that's the go-to. So I didn't really break down and cry until I was 38 years old, and the amount of stuff that came out. And now it's nothing. I mean, I was playing Taylor Swift songs last night with the girls. I had no problem. I'm getting the laugh out of it. Now, would I listen to it other than the minivan that we ride in? Probably not. But, to be able to sit there and do it.
Parent life.
Hey, she loves that minivan. That's the soccer mom life, right?
It's all my babies in it. It's my baby.
But, well, Adam, I wanted to see if it's all right. Can we play MOH for everybody tonight?
Sure. Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
So we'll go ahead and present
congratulations, Adam. I didn't say that earlier.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, like that
Thank
is
you.
pretty amazing, especially that you started playing like later in life. It's not like you're a prodigy. Then you went in, and, did drum and bugle corps, and continued that. And you were able to not do that. You basically did this after service. So I definitely wanted to show everyone the video now. Let's see.
Well, Don Jenkins was born in a little place called Quality, Kentucky. I worked third shift in a coal mine my junior and senior year. I went by my mama's one day, and she says, "You've got something laying here." That was my draft notice, and so went to the induction center in Nashville, Tennessee, and left Nashville, went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, done the basic training. Left there, went to Fort McClellan, Alabama, from there to Vietnam.
I was working in a coal mine, putting my name on a dotted line. They dropped me off in the jungle. I had to do my time. We got put down in a valley. Charlie dug into the ground. Night sky lit up like a rocket, muzzle flashing all around. There's a pale horse coming when my rifle sings. I'll defend my brother, no mercy, no retreat. Fire rains down as a scream that the devil tried to send me to a grave, but I ain't gonna let go. Come hell or high water, your soul train bound. Gonna drop you where you stand, put your 6 feet down. Didn't they hear about dying, crawling through the battle line, voices calling from the shadows, pleading for the last time. Blood was flowing like a river, gunpowder in my lungs, killing is our business, so a killer I have because there's a pale horse coming when my rifle sings. I'll defend my brother, no mercy, no retreat. Fire rains down as a scream that the devil tried to send me to a grave, but I ain't gonna let go. Come hell or high water, your soul train bound. Gonna drop you where you stand, put your 6 feet down. I went back working in a coal mine. I had to do my time.
Come back to States and went back to work in the coal mines. And I spent 42 years in the coal mines.
Blackbird Anthem, everybody. That was an amazing video, brother.
That was good.
Thank you. We had so many people that just volunteered and helped to come out. Everyone, such support for Don. We flew Don down from Kentucky to Texas for the filming, and it was just an amazing experience. Probably 90% of the crew and the cast were all veterans. Just a huge, just outpouring of support, and we couldn't have done it without everyone that was involved. It was just an amazing time and good people, and there are good people out there. There are great organizations out there, and people that want to help. Not everybody's out for a dollar, not everybody's out for fame, and find the right people, find the right organizations, and they'll help.
I say this about nonprofits and the nonprofit world, but if you really want to judge the character of a nonprofit, ask them about another nonprofit, and if they are understanding the cause, championing that banner, not speaking ill of anything, probably a good one. If there's one that's selfish and going out and trying to steer you away from something in the cause, and they lose sight. And it is, when egos get involved in anything, it tears stuff down. I've seen that firsthand. But the beauty is when that community comes together, and it does. It takes a community to get these men and women back to balance at times. But to see everybody coming and supporting, and I say it all the time, we don't need your money. I would rather time. I would love for somebody to come out there and help. Or, we got some vets that have transportation issues, and this might be the only thing that's going to help them, and it might help them get their lives, back to balance. And then itself, that's paying it forward. So there's other ways to give, except for it's easy to write a check, but when it comes down to it, to really invest some time, it's fulfilling. It fills your cup up.
And for those of you listening, anyone that's wanting to either donate or support, or they're just interested in this program, you would just go to https://guitars, 4vets, vets.org /. I know everyone doesn't always see the video, but at least anyone that may want to find the page, that definitely be where you need to go. And we did have Blackbird Anthem on tonight. And so if you want to check them out, definitely support our brothers and sisters, and definitely, support these gentlemen. What he did is really a testament to what you can do after you post-service. So I absolutely thank you so much for coming on tonight, Adam.
And you're very welcome. I'm glad to be here, and something that can start as small as learning 3 chords on a guitar, as Danny said. Cowboy chords, you can play thousands of songs with 3 chords, and you never know where that's going to lead. I'm now, several years into music and writing and all that kind of stuff. And I'm now kind of venturing down a road where I'm learning how to do self-production. I'm teaching and learning how to microphone placement and recording and learning software. And I just got a little, new toy in today. I'm gonna learn how to play with and create stuff, so you never know what avenue you may go down. And, I'm 47 now, and, I know I'm not going to be able to keep playing and touring and all that kind of stuff, but I'm still going to write music. I'm still going to, play songs, and who knows, maybe I can record for other people, or, music is something that once it's inside you, it doesn't go away. And you got to find an outlet for it one way or another. And Danny, if I can help you guys and Aaron in any way, whether it's, coming online for a class you've got going, or talk about songwriting, or I come through Louisiana all the time on my way from Florida to Texas.
Nice.
And, you know, if I come through on a Wednesday, I'll stop in at a jam session and have a great time with you all. You
That'd
know?
be cool.
Nice.
Man, that'd be great. That'd be great.
I love stuff like that. You know,
Definitely have a different perspective of how to do something, especially the songwriting portion. You said you never know once you open that door where it's going to segue, where it's going to sit there and intersect it, and maybe put you in a path to somebody else to help them out. You know, journaling in itself, that's songwriting. If you think about it, if you sit there and journal, you can make it. And a lot of those impactful songs have been somebody's, you know, diary input. So, you know, you got to think it's coming from somewhere, and that soul and that deep and that crushing and that sadness, you can actually turn into something very beautiful and positive. And then in itself, that's where that trauma loop has been closed, is when you've taken that negative and completely went back around and made it now a positive, then you can close that chapter and move on to something else and process it.
That's exactly right. I've got
But
a song.
It's way better than keeping it in.
Yeah. There's a song Jeremy and I wrote called Bad Seed. It's on an acoustic album we put out. And, you know, it's just about that feeling that sometimes you think, you know, I'm just a screw up. But everything I do, everything I touch, it just goes to shit somehow. Maybe I'm just a bad seed. Maybe I'm just, you know, and so we wrote this song, not that we always feel that way, or that's not our identity, but sometimes I think we all feel that. And I had this very caring lady come up to me. She goes, is that your reality? And I'm like, well, not right now, but I mean, I have felt that way before, you know. I said, that's the beauty of songs, is that, you know, you can take a moment and expand it. And I think, you know, veterans sometimes and public service. I mean, I was LEO too. You know, you talk, and if you say, hey, I'm having a hard time dealing, that's going to come with all kinds of stigma. And I mean, in the public service, they're going to say, give me your badge, give me your gun. And when you get a doc to say you're cleared for duty, you can come back to work. Yeah. And that just ruins your entire identity, you know.
And the stigma too.
Yeah. And it's out there, but there are ways to help deal with that. Being around like-minded people, being around people that understand, having a great relationship with your spouse, and that trust and communication. And it can get better, but it does take work.
Well, that's what a lot of people say is, you know, you ask them, man, do you miss the service? And a lot of people, you know, it's 50-50. If they had a good experience, you know, I miss, but the underlining common thread through all of that is when they do say this is I might not miss the service, but I miss the camaraderie. I miss being thrown into a big melting pot and having to get along with people. We find some way that we all connect, and then we experience something together and we grow from that. And this is one of those avenues that you can have something like that. A lot of these, you know, men and women have a lot of this baggage, emotional baggage with them, and you're going through this process together. And then you come on the backside of this, and then you have another tool in your tool bag to sit there and go to when you're struggling, and you have another group of friends, compadres, to let, you know, rest on and rely on when you have some of these trials and tribulations. So that's it. You know, we can't do this alone. I don't think anybody was meant to walk this earth alone. I think we got to have some of these healthy, definitely relationships with others, and you know, it goes back to what we said earlier. Why not just give it a try? The worst thing, you fail miserably, but you know what? We want to let you know you fail. You'll come back in. You'll be a graduate. You'll come back, and we'll keep trying until we break some ground with you. But just don't give up. That's the worst thing you can do, is give up. Give up in life. Give up on yourself. Give up on something that's going to better you in a positive way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I really, truly appreciate you guys coming on tonight and sharing your insight, because I feel it is truly needed, right? Especially in this day and age. There's so many people that don't realize they have post-traumatic stress, and they can be empowered in entirely different ways. So, I mean, you having that avenue for people, it really, I think, resonates a lot more than most people realize. And I think that it's great that you're doing that. It's funny, speaking of putting themselves out there, I actually did that recently because of the fact that I was told that I'd lose both legs by the age of 40. I just turned 39. So I decided, with my extra being self, that I was going to create a veteran calendar, and a quarter of the proceeds would actually go to rescue residents, where my goal is to be able to raise enough to actually donate an ambulance to be transformed into safe and suitable housing for homeless veteran and their family. So for me, like that's my goal. So I did this kind of like pinup noir calendar. I went to England to do it. It's actually where I was when I hurt myself the next day. My photographer was not amused. But I'll show you one of the pictures. I'll release it and coming soon. I'm working on the domain now. But here's one of the photos. So I had like way too much fun dressing up like Jessica Rabbit. But like I said, put yourself out there. Be weird. It's totally fine to do that. You know, like Danny was saying, you know, you never know where your path will lead, especially after you throw in a tiny like ripple in the pond. I can tell you right now, when I first started running for Miss Veteran America, I had no clue that it would lead to me podcasting and to meeting amazing people, to really being able to help veterans in ways that I really didn't think I could anymore, because I can't be the same medic that I once was. So it really does give me that sense of purpose in a way I never would have expected. And I think that it really relates to what you're talking about tonight. But I'll go ahead and close everything up tonight. We'll have a round robin. So, Adam, what are some final thoughts that you might have?
You know, if you're a vet out there and you're struggling to connect or reconnect or find your identity, just explore. You know, don't be afraid to, if there's something you like, look up, Google it, search veteran nonprofit and blah 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 blah, and there, I guarantee you there's something out there for it. And if you don't know, or you don't know who to trust, start asking around. The veteran community is actually a lot smaller than you realize, and if you get out there, you're going to find someone who knows someone who you served with or whatever, and you're gonna find welcoming arms.
Thank you, brother. And Danny, what about you, brother?
I had something that came up in a process group, somebody said, and I thought it was a pretty cool takeaway. So I'm going to leave it with this. You know, you talk about stepping out and getting out of your comfort zone, or that's weird, or that's not normal. And the person stood up and said, you know, normal is a setting on a washing machine. That's it. What's normal to me might not be, who cares? If you find comfort, you find healing, you find positive energy and vibes through it, then give it a try. You know, screw judgmental buttholes that think otherwise. Do you? If that's going to help you and facilitate growth, then by all means, I'm going to be in the back corner champion and going forth and do great things. Nice. And thank you, Brandy, for having us.
Absolutely, brother. And Miss Erin, what did you have for us tonight?
First, I want to say thank you, Adam, because you hit home when you talked about going into your closet and folding clothes. Thank you. See, I'm not weird, Danny.
You said ranger role earlier, so like he can't say nothing either.
No, it's just I think it's just like you're not alone. The reason I can kind of relate to my husband is a little bit. I'm law enforcement. I am law enforcement right now, and so it's a little easier for us to talk the same language in some of it. But
I agree.
If you're a spouse and you don't know what to say, maybe just let them know, hey, I'm here. That's all you need to say. I'm here. When you want to talk, when you're ready to talk, I'm here. And when you're that spouse, when they're saying I'm ready, stop what you're doing and really, you know, put that time into your spouse and love them the way they need to be loved. Maybe not the way you love them, the way they need to be loved. So I'm telling myself that because I still have to work on that. I still have to do that. But I love this community. I love what it represents. I love what it does for my husband. I love what it does for, we're really close with Carl Townley and his wife and all the people that are involved in this. We're really close with them now. And I feel like there's a bigger community now. We're not by ourselves anymore alone. We have all these people that we're like, hey, we're struggling. Okay, what do y'all want? We're just going to come and he's going to have a jam session and, work out some stuff, and we may not even talk about it at all. But I just know from the tempo of his voice that it's squashed, it's good, and we can move on from it and learn from it. So, but thank you, Brandy, for letting us come on here.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it's all about trying to get messages out there of just alternative medical treatments or trying to empower or inspire people. So, I mean, for me, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight and enlightening myself as well as probably a ton of viewers, because it looks like we had a lot of interaction tonight. And like I said, be weird. It's totally fine. Like, look at us. I mean, really, if we decided we all wanted to be like everyone else, where would we be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close it up for tonight, but have a safe and happy holiday for New Year's. I
Same to
challenge my
y'all.
brothers and sisters to absolutely reach out to someone maybe they haven't in a while, just to say, hey, how are you doing? You know, you really don't know where something like that can lead as well, especially around the holidays. I know a lot of people get into dark places, myself included. So, I mean, definitely actually have each other's six, guys. Like, let's not talk about it. Let's be about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
Absolutely.
all right, guys. Well, have a good rest of the night, and thank
Thank
you guys
y'all.
so much for coming on. Aurelia,
Oh.
take us away.
Hi, I'm Aurelia. Just a reminder, smash like, hit subscribe, and click the bell. Please give me my mommy some hearts. Yay, victories!